Having a company mascot seems like all the rage nowadays. When it comes to keyboard maker Redragon, it's only fitting that their mascot is also a dragon. It just so happens that that dragon is a cute anime waifu girl named Eisa. I'm gonna go with Eisa. The Chinese gaming accessories maker sent us a couple of Eisa themed products to review that left me surprisingly more impressed with the performance of the products than the cute dragon spawn plastered all over of the products. So thank you again to Redragon for sending us these review units. They're not going to be watching this prior to publishing, so all thoughts are mine and mine alone. Let's get into the review. Dragon girls are quite popular in anime culture. I'm well versed in the isekai craze, yet for some reason, the only dragon girl that kind of comes to mind for me when I was writing this review is Teal Klaus from Arafuta. It's a terrible but sometimes entertaining show, so check that out. Clearly, dragon girls aren't my cup of tea or preferred waifus, but it does make sense that a company called Redragon would create one for their marketing. Although at first glance I mistook Eisa for Isa. I was going to say Isa. I mistook Isa for being a demon queen instead, with those dark horns poking out of her ash white hair. I'm ashamed to admit that it took me a few days to correlate the whole dragon theme with the name of Redragon, but now I have that. While Eisa is a big part of the identity of the K686 Pro keyboard, she's actually not viewable on the front side. The art piece of the dragon spawn is printed on the back side, and if you're using the keyboard correctly, and I think most of you guys are, her face should be planted into the table. That's not to say that the front side of the board isn't pleasant to look at, though. There's a lot to look at. The keycap color theme revolves around white, a dark navy blue, and red, and you can see a distinct pattern of what I assume is either fire or some kind of anime aura spread across the main keyboard area. Eisa makes an appearance with her nonchalant face covering the spacebar, though. Throughout the layout of the keys, certain Daisa PPT keycaps replace the traditional ANSI symbology with symbols that look like they jump straight out of an RPG skills menu. There's a medieval theme going on with the font of the K686 that does make it somewhat unique in a market fully saturated with highly futuristic looking keyboard themes. The major selling point of this particular Redragon board is the colorful anime-inspired art theme. It's coated by a dual UV spray paint that doesn't look too bad from a distance. However, upon closer inspection, the colors and the kind of definition of the images aren't as sharp as they appear from that distance. I find the keyboard to still be a more natural print than on this mouse that we're going to talk about next, though. As for the functionality and performance of the K686 Pro SE, this board is a gasket design that cushions off a lot of that noise you normally get from typing on other style boards. It's a comforting, soft noise that comes off the hi-fi custom switches. Sounds good. One thing I immediately noticed was how comfortable it was to type on this K86 Pro. When I initially unboxed it, I was expecting it to feel like a membrane board for reasons I will equate to, I guess, just how the packaging and somewhat playful aesthetics gives off this vibe. But once I got off the ground and running with this 98 key typing experience, I quickly saw the keyboard in a much higher light. Make no mistake about it, Redragon may offer keyboards for budget price points, but that doesn't mean that they're lower quality in performance. The K686 Pro SE is an extremely satisfying typing experience. It's quiet, doesn't feel too cramped, and it's smooth for the fingers to flow through. Redragon also threw a volume knob on the right corner of the keyboard for people who would like using that. It's not the most premium feeling thing, but it controls the audio levels of your computer like it's intended, so that doesn't really matter. There's a 3000 milliamp hour battery that powers through all of the RGB backlighting and any gaming things that you can possibly need. I've gone off one charge for more than 3 full weeks, and Redragon implemented a neat way to track the battery life by just combining the F, N, and the delete keys together. When you press those together, the numeral will light up to like a corresponding numbers based on the remaining battery life. So that's how you indicate it. My only major frustration with the board is that I have a hard time kind of recalling the functions of some of the keycaps on the Eisa board, as their symbology is replaced with icons that have nothing to do with computing. It took me a few days to get a feel for the layout without clicking through them to check what they actually were. I also didn't love the placement of the delete key, which is actually a sword symbol directly above the backspace key. It took some time to alter my typing rhythm to kind of mesh with this placement of the keys. The symbols instead of the traditional keyboard symbology also throws me off when cycling between Windows and Mac OS. This is a wireless capable board which uses Bluetooth, a 2.4 gigahertz receiver, or a USB-C cable to connect with a device. As with many keyboards on the market, the K686 has toggles for not only the connection, but the operating system it's currently on as well. Like the K686 Pro SE equivalent of this, Redragon also sent us an Eisa skinned version of the M916AK Pro wireless mouse. That's a handful to say. And just like that keyboard, the waifu gets you into the room, but the actual product she's on gets you staying in the game. This is a shockingly capable mouse for a very low price tag. The major selling point to this mouse is that it is super lightweight. I really mean that. This isn't just like a hashtag marketing thing you see repeated by people 100 times. I don't think I've used a mouse that felt like this light before in my career. It weighs in at 42 grams, but at times it felt like I was just moving a piece of foam around on my desk pad. It's that light. It's a weird feeling for a claw grip. I actually think this mouse is way too light for everyday use. As a wireless mouse, there's nothing tethering this Eisa piece from flying around your desk. It has the standard Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz receiver connection methods, as well as a USB-C port at the top for charging or direct input to a computer. Now, when it comes to gaming, I did run the M916AK through a bevy of games. With a PAW 3395 sensor, the mouse just glides across the desk mat effortlessly. Sometimes I actually did lose track of where the cursor is on my 49-inch ultra-wide monitor. You can toy around with the type of grip you use thanks to the size and weight of this mouse, but I can't help but actually find it a bit awkward to use at times because of just the form. The max DPI is 26,000 and it can be toggled through 5 different levels. I found the clicks to be solid and rather quiet. It doesn't take much input to register a left click. It isn't going to be a satisfying feeling or a sound, but I do think it works quite nicely. There are 5 macro buttons that are supported through Redragon software, 2 side buttons flanked to the left side of the body. One of them is textured. Like the left and right clicks, they feel a bit muted and somewhat lackluster to actually press into. The scroll wheel is also just about average for what it is. It's a little looser than I normally would like to use, but also nothing drastically deterring it for the overall gaming experience. There aren't any RGB effects to be found on this mouse, but Eisa does make an appearance printed onto the base of this product. Similar to how I felt about the clickiness of the buttons, I don't want to necessarily use the word cheap, but these attributes leave a little bit to be desired. Eisa's print on this mouse is a bit strange. The aspect ratio seems narrowed and then stretched on the vertical base. The color is also slightly less saturated than the keyboard Eisa when placed next to one another. So ultimately, this gaming set is easily targeted at anime fans, obviously. Eisa is not a licensed character from any game or show, but the general anime theme with a hint of that RPG trait sprinkled around the design will most likely attract a certain crowd of buyers to these products. While they're both quite affordably priced in their own right, I was more impressed with the K686 Pro SE keyboard for overperforming what I initially expected to see on it. regardless of how I personally feel about having a dragon waifu plastered on my setup, I do appreciate seeing a variety of genres represented. There's way more Tron looking keyboards and mice than there are Arafuta like themes out there, so always cool to see something like this. Once again, my name is Alex from the Sypnotix. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you want a dragon spawn waifu on your keyboard in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, it helps the channel a lot, and I will see you guys in the next video.